Hey, how you doing? It's Chris again. As you probably know, because you probably watched all the other parts of this set, and if you're just watching this one in its own, you'll have no bloody clue what I'm doing, but don't worry about it. Anyway, I'll just switch this to graphite mode because it looks pretty. I like looking at models in graphite mode. I can pretend I'm a really good pencil artist then. It doesn't fool my daughter, but you know. Anyway, realistic. There you go, Shift F3. I used a hotkey, look at that. Okay, I'm going to be working on this bit, okay? So if I just hit F4, we can see that it's made of many polygons. And what I am going to do, God, I loved Leslie Nielsen, wasn't he the best? What I'm going to do is I am going to basically start with this and take away some bits what we doesn't need. So if I start here and just do a ring, or maybe even a loop, which would be better. Not going to let me do the loop, is it? That naughty thing. That's okay, I can grab this one, do a ring, and then delete it, and it leaves me with this beautiful star shape in the middle, which I can select. Do that too. Now, as for this one, I'm going to select all of the polygons all the way to the middle, like such. There we go. And now I've only got half that I need to make, because for the initial part, symmetry will reign supreme, and then it won't. Life, eh? So, first of all, let's get this shape the way I want it. Now, I could, obviously, completely and utterly and shamelessly copy, you know, various other styles out there, but I'd like to really have a look at doing one for myself. So, let's let autosave do its business, and I think I'll probably also slap on a symmetrical modifier. So, symmetry. Where are you? There you are. Okay, so there's the symmetry on. And if I go down here to editable poly and show end result, I can now work on my model in relative peace, safe in the knowledge that all the fun things I do over here will happen over there as well. Alright, so I am going to do an inset first, like that. And then I'm going to do an inset again, like that. Then I'm going to select that and this. I really like being able to do this, what do you call it, this kind of dot selection thing. It saves me a whole host of time, you know, doing it that way. There are various things you can do in order to kind of change the way your selection works. For example, your dot gap you can change to 2, for example, so watch. And now if I just do a dot loop, as you see, it spaces out every one, which is kind of cool. And there's a few different selections we can put in here, so you can have step mode and step looping and all sorts of cool things. I think I'm going to have my dot loop set probably like that, because I quite like it like that. And yeah, sod it, I'm going to have it like that. Then I'm going to select this middle part here, and then I'm going to extrude it and just bring it straight out like so. There we are. Now, what I'd like to do afterwards is possibly bring them out a little bit further. There we go, like that. And then I'm going to bring it out again, but just the middle part like that. Now, what I'm going to do with these is select these bits. Okay, now this isn't quite so easy a selection process. I mean, there are tools you can get that will allow you to go around and select all of these, but I'll just turn off pin for the moment. If I turn off pin, by the way, it means that I can see the correct colour. Okay, which is obviously important to me. You have heard me waffling on and on and on about how I can't see nothing because I'm hopeless and junk, so it's kind of important. Let's take off symmetry anyway. There we go, just go around them all. The reason I want to do this is because we can get some really nice effects, you know, just from doing a couple of very simple things. Some very simple things. So, for example, I can bring them all back like that, and we start to get this step, you see, which looks a lot nicer. Or I could use scale and bring them in a bit, which will just pinch it or make it wider. So I'm just going to pinch it a little bit like that. That's quite nice as well. I could even reduce the size of these tops here and just bring them in completely, which would make them look pretty nice as well. But I'm going to keep them as they are, I think, with this slanted down kind of thing. And what I can do now is just use a chamfer. I can just chamfer them like this, look. And suddenly we get this really nice, smooth kind of shape going on. See? Lovely. Okay, and then on the ends of this, I'm probably going to have like a big old hose coming out of it, because I think that would be cool. Probably an exhaust, because, you know, why the hell not? I'm going to have some exhausts at the top as well, but I'm considering that, you know, we probably need some sort of a heat exchange system where overly hot things can pour out of this. Anyway, enough whiffle waffle, spiffle spaffle, or whatever. I want to put some maker's lines into this as well, so I'll do that after I've done this bit. So just going to use the select tool for this, and carefully, I mean, I could turn on ignore back facing, but you know what, I'm not going to. Some people may say it's because I'm hardcore, some people may say it's because I'm a bloody idiot. It's generally because, having used Max for so long, I know that sometimes it doesn't like doing things the way you think it should, and it has problems. It's a bit like your old granny, you know. Sometimes she's fine, other times that Vindaloo curry you give her just goes through her like a rash. Anyway, enough talk about your grandma. I'm sure she's lovely. And if she isn't, well, I don't care. Let's do a bevel here. And I'm just going to bring that out just a teeny bit. Or, actually no, I'm not going to bring it out a little teeny bit, I'm just going to do it this way. And then I'm going to undo it, bring it out by local normal, and click tick. Okay, because it's important that I get that kind of shape there going. Alright. Now, I need to put a few more bits in it as well, so I'm going to take this just here, and I'm going to chamfer it wide. So, not too wide, just a little bit wide incidentally. I'll wait. Yeah, don't mind me. I'll just sit here. Thank you, finish. Good. Good old autosave. So, chamfer that wide. Say about there. So, it's not too wide, just enough room basically for me to put in maybe a couple of maker's lines. And I think what I'll do is I'll separate it into a couple of pieces. There we go. Just trying to decide on what the best way to do this will be. Yeah, I'll just keep it as a triangle chamfer. Click tick. Control select by polygon. Way too big. Shrink it down. There we go. And then select these pieces. Not you. You're not wanted. Okay, and extrude it, and extrude it back in. And because it's already extruded by local normal, it'll still remember that we extruded by local normal, so that's kind of useful. Alright, a couple of other pieces I'm going to need to do then. And I can either use for this, oh, what do you call it? God, my memory is absolutely appalling. I can either use for this booleaning, or I can use the method I'm about to do now. P.S. Guess what I'm about to do? Use the method I'm going to do now. Okay, this requires you to be able to use your eyeballs, so I'm going to zoom on this, because eyeballs are so useful, wouldn't you agree? And I'm going to scale this until it looks square. Okay, if you're not sure if it looks square or not, just go around it a lot, do that. Go to yourself, oh, is that square? I'm not sure, I hope it is. We can only scale it on one side. If you scale it on the other side, okay, because we're not scaling, okay, using our local normal, it will scale horribly. Look. Oh, that looks right. No, it doesn't. Okay, so like that. Then just insert it a little bit again, and then all I'm going to do is just mesh smooth it once, and then grow, and mesh smooth it again twice. See that? And we get this nice round shape. We don't have to mesh smooth it twice. We can just do it once if you want. It is entirely up to you. Okay, and I'm going to take out a couple of these extraneous edges that I don't really need. So that one, that one, that one. Oh, not that one. Actually, I'll take them all out at the same time. It'll save me time. So that one, Will you stop that? One. The accuracy of the clicking on max is really kind of shady at the moment. And then shift and backspace. Okay, there they go. Bye bye you. See you later. Okay, they're all gone now. Okay, so that just leaves me this shape here. And now what I can do is just, one, delete it all, because I don't need it all. Okay, and then cap it. And I could even attach more mesh smooth to that, but once we do, we get this weird shape. I could also spherify it if there were more polygons in, just, you know, whack some tessellate in and apply a spherify to it. But there's lots of options. Spherify, see? It's weird stuff, the old spherify tool, but it's fun. And that's the most important thing. Okay, so there we go, spherify. We'll use that. Right click, convert to editable poly, so it's now collapsed. Select by all these polygons, and just bring them in a little bit like that, just a teeny bit. Oh, I don't need to. There we go, bring them out a little bit then, sod it. I want it quite big. Not that big. There we go, and delete. Now I can just stick my border just there, and extrude it. Well, once it's capped anyway. Backwards. There we go. And that gives us a hole that hasn't been chamfered in, but is basically a correct hole. You know what I mean. If you've used 3ds Max before, you know what the difference between a hole and a correct hole anyway, so that's a good start. Now, we need to do some chamferage on this, because our edges need chamferage. So let's do some chamferage. So what I'm going to do is select by edge, not by vertex. And it used to be that if I wanted to select all my hard edges, I would select this one, and then this one, and all these ones, and this edge one here, and this one, and this one. And it takes like 15 minutes. And I'd record myself doing it, and you'd want to kill yourself. Or I can just go to selection, and select hard. Oh, it's done it. There we go. Now all I need to do is just deselect the bits that I don't want. There will be a couple, to be fair. Okay, so I'll deselect those. Just apart from that, auto saves in progress, so wait a moment. Now you can see there's a couple of bits that haven't been selected, but hey, you know what? It's only a couple of bits. It isn't going to kill me selecting them all, let's put it that way. So, just after making sure that everything's selected the way I want it to be, which, you know, PS, it is. Let's have a look. I'm going to chamfer these fine little edges. So, click chamfer, and this is going to be one fine little chamfer to be fair, so I don't need a big one. And click OK. And all that's done is taken the edge off. You see how the edge is now softer and more luxurious. Okay, now in here, I remember someone had posted, right, that they didn't like the style that I do in tutorials. They said, oh, I can't stand him and his style, which is fair enough. They said it was a piracy thing that I'd found when I was doing my regular scan. You know what, if you don't like my voice and the way I do tutorials, don't fucking steal them. Anyway, I'm going to click loop. And you may notice that I did very little except select just those two. So this is one of those occasions when we'll have to go around and select them all. Yeah, I don't often get annoyed, but to be honest, if you're going to steal things, okay, you can't complain about the quality of them afterwards. Or if you're going to complain about the quality of them because you've obviously watched them, at least send me a couple of bloody quid, you know? I'm having to drink coffee that costs 45 pence a bag. I'm not even joking. Have you any idea how horrible coffee that costs 45 pence is? I mean, I tend to joke about the fact that my coffee is like really cheap and horrible sometimes, but seriously? A £3 pot of instant coffee would be a big preferable kind of experience at this point. Anyway, enough of my whiny British ways. I'm sure you're all sick to death of it, especially you Americans. And certainly the Australians who can't stand us whiny poms. Going to do an inset. Like that. And this will give us the edge that I need. If I just do an extrude inwards. I should really, when it comes down to it, have probably chamfered these edges before I did what I'm doing here, but you know what, I forgot. And because I'm not going to admit to it, I'm just going to do it the old way again. Because it remembers, you know, it remembers my chamfer settings. There we go, I'll do it again with this one. Control, select by edge, and chamfer. Interesting thing is, now that I'm not having to shout out every hotkey for you guys, you see, I can get on with just talking even more nonsense to annoy the pirates who obviously don't like the way I talk about the tutorials I spent so long making. Maybe I should come in and steal your television and claim that I don't like the remote control. That's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Would you like it if I just took some food out of your children's mouths while I'm doing it? Oh, this baby food's not very nice. Spit it on the floor and punch your child in the face. That's what I should do. Anyway, enough of that. Let's have a look. I want to put some vents in these, so I'm going to grab here, 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 and here. And I'm using a lot of very, very cheaty methods, you know, when it comes down to it. So I'm just going to grab this, pull it wide, and then I'm going to chamfer it. But I'm going to chamfer it much larger than it is at the minute, so maybe like that. And yeah, I'm just going to chamfer it as a triangle. There's no real special options I can do with this, you'll notice. So I've got different smoothing types and smooth thresholds, and I can invert it so it's open if I want to or whatever. But and there's the edge tension, connect edge segments, look, see, so I can do that. But it's not rounding it, so it doesn't make any bloody difference. Click tick. So what I'm going to do instead is grab this and its little chums. There we go. Instantly, some people have asked me, like a few times, you know, why do you do tutorials based on things like, you know, Forge World, Games Workshop, Twisted Metal, Heavy Metal, and all the other stuff that I base it on? Well, there's a good point and a good reason to this, right? Something like an Heavy Metal piece or a Games Workshop piece or even a Forge World piece is affordable to an artist who is learning. Whereas, and trust me on this because I've done it, buying a concept artist and their time, okay, and don't get me wrong, concept artists are worth every single red cent, is hideously expensive. When I did Ultimax, I paid £1,500 to have the concept art developed for it, okay, and I still consider that a good deal. Jeremy Love's a fantastic artist, but it is expensive. It's very expensive. Now I'm not going to deselect those parts on the inside there instantly, so I'm just going to go in there, zoom, and we can see that there's a little bit more space for a lovely chamfer in there, so I'll just put a lovely little chamfer in, just a teeny weeny one. There we go. Interesting. Actually, before I do that, let's just click X and undo it again. Go on, go back with you. Don't want that. I'm just having a look, because those are quite sharp edges, and I was going to actually round them some more than I did. But you know what? I've run out of undos anyway, so I don't think I care anymore. Let's just do a chamfer. Pardon me. Do a chamfer on them. There we go. Just bring them in, bring them in, bring them in, and wait for autosave again, because it does like causing us to wait long periods of time when it's not doing this weird crashy thing. Speaking of which, I wonder if Max is going to crash soon. No, wow. See that? GDS Max has come on a long way, baby. It used to crash all the damn time in the past. Okay, now we need some wires and some cables and some rivets and some things. Why? Because I say so. So then, let's have a look and see what we can do here in this exciting shaped thing that we have created. Okay, so first up I am going to, let's have a look at these shapes here. I do enjoy doing things like this incidentally, so just in case you were wondering, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to ring, yes, connect once, yes. Now then, I don't need to connect all of them. In fact, just this length here is ideal, and I'm going to create a shape for my selection that will be smooth. See that? Now I'm going to select my smooth shape, hello, and I'm going to apply a push to it. So I was thinking about this earlier, and I thought, I'll put a push on a spline, like so. And I should be able to kind of bring it out a bit. It doesn't work. It's a damn shame, isn't it? Alright then, well, I'll tell you what then. Sod you, I'm not going to do it that way. See that? That's how hardcore I am. I'm actually going to just go back and undo that entire piece and redo it the way I want to. Because Max obviously does not want to play ball. So I'll get rid of that. Helps if I have the right piece selected, of course. And just delete it off. Just get rid of any verts that's sitting around doing nout. And take that one away. There we go. Goodbye, you. Now there's some nasty little verts just sitting in the middle there. So what I should probably do, rather than delete them that way, is do a Control Delete, which deletes the verts and the edge. But, well, this is a bit pain in the arse, isn't it? Because I'm now able to do it the way that I didn't want to have to do it. Bar. Only joking, it's easy. Let's have a look. I'm going to have 2 cables come out, so let's go over here. And you may remember from when we did this last time, cylinder, auto grid, 1 height segment. I'm just going to use the hard surface method to select our edges, so print that out. Up like that, right click, convert to editable polygon. Now it's slightly more complicated a way of doing things this way, but don't worry. Okay, it's still not especially difficult. I'm going to zoom in on this and find the bottom edge. See that? That's at 90 degrees. Well, technically 180 degrees, and it's facing straight up. Okay. Try and think of a technical term for it. We shall use the word summer flange again. It's a good word. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to extrude the entire thing up a teeny bit, like so. Then I'm going to hinge from edge, and the edge I shall choose will be Pikachu, and 90 degrees. Oh, by the way, people who don't like my tutorial style as well, another thing, right? You should try making tutorials this long while coming up with things to say. It's not easy. Okay, I have to entertain you guys, and I'm not complaining about it because I love you all. Okay, and I do too, in a pure physical sense. But it's not easy, so I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, so we have this piece here, and I am going to go to my object paints and paint with my selected object. I'm going to paint on my scene, so that should allow me to paint this just about anywhere I bloody well choose. As you can see, the good thing about this is that it doesn't matter the angle I placed it at for the moment. So I'll put one there, and I'm going to have one down here that one will connect to, one here that one will connect to, and then up here I can have one here, maybe one here. And I couldn't give 2 figs the angle that they're at. It's not important. You may be thinking to yourself, well, why? That's just insane, Chris. Why are you so mental? And it's because I can move them around on the local axis, so it doesn't really matter. Right, so this one, for example, seems to be facing in the wrong direction, doesn't it? So if I go to my rotation, and on my rotation I change it to local, I can now rotate this any damn way I please until I think it's facing in the right direction. And now it is. Same with this one. And because I've got angle snap on, you know, it's quite easy to get it more or less right. And trust me, okay, most people aren't going to notice if you're a couple of degrees out, unless it's something that's phenomenally important. So you should be fine. Just try to avoid screaming and pooing yourself, and you should be okay. There's one. And there. Okay, so these are all kind of facing in the right direction, except for this one, which most assuredly is not. Still find it quite funny. My oldest son spends a lot of time playing Team Fortress 2 with his American friends, and as such has developed a strange American accent. I don't object, it's just quite amusing. Okay, so let's start connecting these little buggers here together. So, first things first, I'm going to take local off and attach this and its friend together. Not you, you. Okay, I can see we're going to have some trouble here. Let me just check this, make sure it's not a weird copy. There's some strange stuff going on here. I don't suppose you've noticed, have you? Okay, so this is object, not object 11, cylinder 126, and this is cylinder 123. Let's just attach it using the list thing. So 1, 2, 6. Well, that was good. Honestly, sometimes I wonder about this thing. Why are you doing this to me? That's what I often say. Well, there. See, these are interesting. I think I have to collapse them all first for some obscure reason. Right. Now with those two selected I can just click bridge. Now obviously that's going to be a problem, but all I have to do is drag through here and then I can use the modelling tool and swift loop. I can just do that, and if I have the move tool on I can start moving it, and again swift loop. And move it a little bit. I can move it back and forth as well, which is a help. Swift loop. It's quite funny actually. Whenever I think of swift loop, I always think of my friend Swifty, who's like a Hell's Angel, like a serious one. He's got like all the big tattoos and stuff, and you're not allowed to wear the big tattoos if you're not a real Hell's Angel. And he's just like the nicest guy, one of the real nice guys out there. So whenever I think of Swift Loop, I just think of him for some obscure reason. I think the British Hells Angels has a slightly different reputation, possibly to the American one. Not a lot different, to be fair, man. It's slightly different. Anyway, he's a nice guy. Well then, put this in here. Bring that up to there. And then over here. I'm always constantly amused at the fact that I moved up to this little kind of provincial town in the arse end of nowhere years and years ago, and it like seemed like such a quiet place when I got here, and it's got such a massive bike community, like enormous. You've got like something like 2 local bike clubs, you know, like difference between clubs and gangs, obviously, and then you've got like obviously like the big gangs, but all of them are such nice people, and like at Christmas time they all go out on their bikes collecting money for charity and stuff. It's really nice. Anyway, just make sure I'm moving these in the right direction without ruining my model. So I've got a few of these to do, and when I'm done I'm going to stop recording for a bit, and then I'll finish off this piece in the next bit. So let's see, I've only got 2 more of these to put together, but you see how much easier it is doing it this way. So we can literally change the angles we're working at and do all sorts of cool things here. So let's just collapse these, and then if we select this one and attach it and its friend together, bridge. And like I say, the good thing is it doesn't matter if it's intersecting this geometry, because Swift Loop just pull it straight out. As long as I'm in vertex, sorry, edge mode rather, anyway. So I can just bring that up. Quite funny, someone was saying to me like, can you not do a tutorial of like a big old bike the other day? I was like, I don't do bikes. I'm terrible at them. Vehicles is like a massive skill, you know, vehicle modelling and stuff. That's why companies like pay so much and constantly are looking for decent vehicle artists, and I'm not a vehicle artist. I can do them, don't get me wrong, okay, and I might do them again at some point, but man, vehicle art is like really, really complex. Oh no, 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 you do not do that. Right, I'm going to chamfer this now, because that's another way we can do it, just to smooth our cylinder. If you look, see how it does that? And so all the segments become quite smooth. So that's another option we can use. Close my edge down again. There we go, and attach this fella. a lot of the time you probably think to yourself, oh, well, he's kind of wombling around a little bit, he's doing stuff that, you know, and making mistakes and going back and doing it. Well, I have a plan when I do set out to do these things, okay, and, you know, the plan's a good one, but sometimes I have to deviate from it, okay, as you will know yourself if you're doing 3D art, you sometimes have to deviate from your plans, and it's a pain, but it happens. And the reason I make tutorials the way I do is so that I can explain to people how to deviate from things, you know. If you remember, again, looking at the Bob Ross analogy, which is an important analogy, think about how he used to make mistakes. And he said they weren't mistakes, they were happy little accidents. Because the whole point of making a mistake is that you can then go back and work out how not to do it again. And that is an important difference. Okay, so we've got those in place. Now, I'm going to attach all these little hoses I've made just here, you see, like so, and then I should be able to select them by doing Control I by element, and let me have a look. I don't want to select non-quads, thank you. I want to select hard edges. There we go. That's a few too many hard edges, to be honest, I would say. Even with a shrink in place. I might have to do these manually, which is a pain because I prefer not to, but there you go. Fortunately with these we can kind of loop them a bit. We just can't loop the bottom ones, we can only loop the top ones. So I think I'll just have to go around and loop them all. Oh, what time is it? Yeah, I've got a couple more minutes. Just let autosave do its funky thing. And I'll just use the select tool rather than select and move. Now just go around it all and try as best you can just to select the ones you need, okay? Make a mistake, that's okay, Control Z, just make sure you've got a few undo levels turned on for if you do make a mistake. And again, remember, I mean, there aren't any mistakes, there's happy little accidents, although if you accidentally create a load of chamfers you don't need and don't realise till too late, it's a happy little accident that will cause you to swear and be a bit frustrated for a while. Okay, down here. See, if I loop that one, for example, we'll go all the way along my model and then my pipe will have a massive great big seam in it, which is not what I want. Okay, we've done that one, so I haven't done this one yet. So I can see that one there's selected. Let's just select this one, that one, that one, and if I come down here, I can just select these. There we go, and then if I just do loop, just check them all best I can, make sure there's no hideous and glaring errors, and I'm just going to do a quick chamfer, just a very small one. Click tick, and that's that. Okay, so in the next part I'm going to show you obviously how to finish up this piece. I'm not going to do that at the moment, so I'll see you in the next bit.